So this time on 818 Custom Garage, we've got the basket case UDR. I picked this up from a buddy of mine. He originally wanted me to kind of go through it and fix it up, but I've always wanted one. So we're gonna get into it and show you what this thing really needs and why nobody really wanted to touch it. So let's roll. Man, so check this beauty out. It's a little beat up, the body's thrashed, but we'll there's not, we may end up changing that out, but let's see. So this thing looks pretty good right now. I wish I would have started videoing it earlier. It was covered in mud and junk. I probably got, over an hour of just cleaning it, right? None of the shocks were bolted up. It's missing a lot of stuff. It doesn't have a remote, so I have a remote for it now that I was able to pick up from Jenny's RC. I was like, I don't even know if the electronics works. There was no motor in it. So if you start looking at this thing, it's missing a lot of screws and all this other stuff, but it's got good bones. Now, if you look, that center section is missing. So there was no gear, there's no diff, there's no anything. And I think the reason is, I think it was blown up. So I'll show you some of the other stuff. But everything else looks in pretty good shape. One of these rear control arms is bent. It's missing one of the upper links. As you can see, no sway bar on the back. It's missing. But I was able to power it up the other day, and like the lights work. I got things to bind and all that other stuff. Now I'm just trying to figure out, like, how do you mount everything up? I threw everything through there with a nut and screw. This one didn't need a nut. So I think everything's good there. So here's the plan. Some of the other things that came when I got it, it has like the undercarriage piece. It has 2 spare tires. They don't seem like they have any foam inside them. This one is okay. This one is completely rounded out. So these will use as the spares that sit in the back. I ordered a set of J Concepts wheels. The front cage it's cracked up and broken and stuff. So, these are cheap, picked it up. This thing was covered in mud and filth. It's a little tweaked up and stuff, but I think I can heat it up and form it back, So it did have the motor and transmission. It was covered in just junk. So I cleaned it up, pulled it apart. Everything looked good inside. If you look, some of the wires are bare in some spots. So we're going to heat, I've got some really nice heat shrink that has the adhesive inside. So we're going to heat shrink up all those areas and, bolt this thing back in. We should be pretty good. It was pretty cool. It came with a new set of rear lower control arms. And it had all this stuff. What's funny, so I think I have most of the screws, hopefully, just chilling in there. Has some other broken pieces. It had a lot of the pieces for the rear diff, but no center pumpkin. I was like, oh man, I got to buy the plastic center pumpkin. Well, I started looking at all the gears and everything in here. They're all ground up and beat up and nasty, and they're junk. So it does have a couple rear drive shafts. One of them, if I remember right, is totally bent. Oh yeah, this one, you can see it's totally bent. So this thing had a hard life at some point, maybe. I don't know. The body, it doesn't look that trashed. But there's a couple others. So we'll be able to use one of these. It's missing the end. Maybe I can pull one off somewhere else, and I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I can steal one from the bent one. If not, I don't think they're super expensive, so we might have to get a rear drive shaft too. The front center drive shaft was missing out of it. It's all beat up too. So, but like I said, it's in really good shape. The body of the chassis, I know the speed controller works. I know the lights work, receiver works. get a remote from Jenny's. Way cheap to do that. Came with a receiver too. We'll walk over here. Oh man, yeah, that's chunky. So we'll walk over here. Got another X-Max I was working on for somebody. So this is the plan. Jenny's RC, full complete. It's missing like the outer shafts, but those are over there in that box. But it's got the whole center section, everything in here. So, and this thing, for a whole complete one, it's cheaper than buying the whole mini center section. It's crazy. Yeah. I'm gonna do the I'm gonna get rid of the disc brakes on it because they use a plastic hex, and those are known for stripping out. As you can see, you know, one of those wheels was totally stripped out. So we're just gonna go with the metal hexes. I don't care about the disc brakes anyways. Got a set of upper links. Then I had to get some stuff for the battery trailer. Was missing a couple pieces. And then the servo was making noise, and I'm like, you know what? You know me, I like to replace all the servos anyways. That thing's too slow. This, if you checked out our other video, this is the best basher servo that I think you can get, right? It's an AGF 32 kg, super nice, all metal case, tons of torque, tons of speed. They work really good, great for the price. And we'll do a servo arm. These are sway bars. So this is actually just the bar itself. There's a front and a rear. It's like $4 for this thing, but I didn't have the rear one. Now I got a spare for the front. And then front drive shaft. The factory one is plastic, and they're known for breaking. Obviously this one broke it. It's kind of a pain. So Traxxas makes an upgrade. Not super expensive. So we're going to throw that in it. And then we're going to get this thing rolling. Like I said, I did have to go buy a set of wheels and tires for it. Gonna go with the J Concepts landmines. They come they're pre-mounted and stuff already. A lot of people have used them, had good luck with them. They have good traction compared to the stock tires. So I think we got a good plan to get this thing rolling. And so follow along. And you know what, once we get it all together, I think I might get a new body for it, because that one's pretty trash. That way we can at least start off cool. And then, you know, I'm going to take it out, have fun with it. The kids are going to have fun with it. I've always wanted a UDR. I know they're not the best bashers out there, but I think with some of the upgrades, we can have fun, and we're not going to totally destroy it anyways. And, you know, we had our Sentin, you know, for our short course truck. Now this is more scale, and I think they're really, really cool. Used one in the past, and I really enjoyed it. And this was such a good deal for me. Even having to buy this stuff, I'm still way far away from going and buying a brand new one. And this thing's in really, really good shape. So hope you enjoy it. Let's check this thing out. Now I think I'm going to start with figuring out this rear suspension setup. Replacing the axle, replacing the lower arms, replacing the upper arms. I've got to figure out though, since this arm is missing and there's no hardware on either side, I'm gonna pop these off here and figure out that's the hard part, is figuring out which hardware goes where, which screws go where. See if I'm missing any screws and stuff like that. But I think we can do that. The limit straps, you know, the stock ones are rubber. I've got a set of hot racing ones. They're actually the same ones that I use on the LMTs. So I actually took 2 of them off the LMTs and put a different set of hot racing ones on there. The blue ones that I've done in the past for now. So I figure I can use these. These are, you know, they're like a real strap, billet end, a little more flexible, where these are like a hard rubber. These are like a real limit strap. So pretty sweet. So we're gonna see if we can figure this out. Let's roll. Should this be like, ready? 1, 2, 3. Bang! Man, check it out. Super clean. Everything fits in there perfect. New arm, new rear control arms, all new rear diff. You know, the only thing it doesn't come with from Jenny's is the actual axle shafts. And I had them, so they were in there. So then we got the new steel hexes on there. I just put these nuts on so nothing slides around, I don't lose the pin. You can see the Hot Racing limit straps. They got, you know, they're real fabric. They work really good. So, and they'll hold it nice. They fit good, fit perfect. Really happy with it. Everything went together really smooth. So, on to the next thing. I think I got to figure out how to mount this motor. I did do the heat shrink. I ran out of black, so all I got is red, but I don't really care, you know, just protecting them. Well, I'm going to do the motor, and while I'm there too, I got to do all the servo stuff. And when you go to do the front motor, you got to do the front drive shaft too. So that, I think, is a little more difficult, because if you look down here, there's a cup that has to slide on there, and then there's a pin that goes through there. So one side, but we'll get it. I think we can get it all on there, and this will at least give us a position to where we can screw it on. Get that together, and then it's got a little dog bone, you know, dog bone setup, kind of like a front drive shaft, or, you know, a side drive shaft. So everything looks good, man. Happy so far. This makes a big difference, you know, getting the rear. Oh man, I wanted to show you the rear arms. This is, you can see that one was really bent. These are known for breaking pretty easy, which is fine. You know, they were super cheap. Well, I mean, I didn't pay for, they came with everything. So yeah, we got the old axle housing. I can keep the axle housing. Doesn't look beat up or anything. I mean, there's grease inside, but like I said, there was no pumpkin or any of that stuff. So I guess I could always try to find a pumpkin and have a spare, you know, in case we ever need to. But there's a lot of broken pieces in there too. And man, getting closer. That's so what's up next? Man. Oh, look, the sway bar fits on there, super nice. It's actually pretty simple, you know. The hardest part was finding the screws. Which screws go where? I was lucky I was able to find the front screws for the front of the control arms and stuff. So, man, I think we're in good shape. You know, it's missing a few things, like there's like the batteries and the fire extinguishers and little stuff like that. I mean, I may end up getting like the shock reservoirs, because those look kind of cool. And, you know, maybe piece that stuff together at some other later date. But I know the lights work, and we'll show you all that too. So after we get once we get the servo in, I think we'll power it back up, show you what it looks like. Well, here we go. We're gonna get this motor in, I think, right? So this is the rear cup, or this is the drive cup on the motor. Just goes in with this, you know, 3mm screw with some Loctite. Then it uses a dog bone, right? Goes in there, which connects to the front. So there's a cup on there, you know, it's just a drive cup. Wasn't too bad to get on there. I thought it was gonna be tough. I was able to get in there with some long tweezers, stayed in there, and then you just put the pin through. You can see the pin goes through and goes in with some Loctite there. So I'm gonna keep it kind of like this. I've heard this can be kind of a pain to get it lined up, but once it is, it's pretty good. The stock one, if you've got a UDR, you know what I'm talking about. This goes on, I don't know if this goes on the, this goes on, I forget what's that, it goes on the, yeah, this one goes on the front diff side. And then there's another plastic piece that slides in there. You know, it's a cool design. It makes it easy to slide things in and out because it's splined like that. But they're plastic and they break apart all the time. I feel like if they had either made this all out of, like, you know, steel or something, probably would have been a little bit heavier. They would have never had problems, or they would have just gone to this design from the beginning, no issues. So let's see where we're at here. Rear suspension came out nice. figured out the screws. There's one short, 3 long. It's missing one of the long ones. I have one. It's a little bit longer. It's fine though. They drive in 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's see. What do we think? Can we get this sucker in here? I don't know. Ready? Bang! Man, it actually went really in pretty well once I figured it out. Like I said, one screw is a little bit different, a little bit longer, but it's fine. In order to get, the dog bone aligned with, the drive cup and everything, you can actually, if you hold it, if you slide it in here, you can actually see it through here a little bit. You move the steering out of the way. Let me see if I can. I don't know. You probably can't see it in there, but you can actually see it in there when you go align it. And then what you do is you have a little, if you got a pick with like a 90 degree, it just holds it up. You hold it up just a little bit and slide this forward with the other hand. Goes right in. It was actually really easy once I figured out what I was doing. So, man, all lined up. We got drive. This servo is not happy. It was making noise when I had originally powered it up. So, I think servo is next. We got servo, and then we're gonna get rid of the plastic servo arm and the plastic rod. This will just replace with the aluminum arm. I've thought about just doing the aluminum servo arm and keeping this plastic here. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. It's plastic everywhere else, and it's got a Servo Saver and everything. So I may just replace this arm and all this. I'll just probably do it all. It shouldn't hurt it, I don't think. This is a pretty solid plastic arm here anyways, so I think doing the aluminum. I just like having aluminum on, full Metal Gear servo, preferably. I have done plastic on some other ones and haven't had an issue, but hot racing makes a nice one. It's nice to have an aluminum servo arm, I think. So if you're doing it, do it right. So we're going to get that next. What do you think? I don't think it's too hard. Ready? Should we pull the old one out first? 1, 2, 3. Bang! Check it out. And it fits in there all nice. Hot racing servo arm, steering arm. This thing, beautiful. Man, look at this thing. It does so good. Man, the old one was like bound up or something, but they're turds. I mean, these things are just, it doesn't even want to turn right now. So, I don't know. Not great. It's the stock one though, and I'm sure it's had a rough life. I think everything got covered in mud, but man, nice and fast. Love it. On to the next. This bad boy is coming together. I didn't catch it, but I got the new front piece of the cage in. One thing I noticed, and I didn't know, right, is there's another part of the bumper here. There's another section that sticks out, and then there's a brace that comes here. I was like, when I got it together, I was like, I got a gap here where these screws go through. And so figured that out, ordered that. So we'll put that piece in. It all fits perfect. It's all going together. You can see I got the dudes back in there. I may end up pulling those back out because the batteries I use, I've got the Ovonics on here. They are, is that EC5? I use IC5 on everything, right? I've got these little adapters to go to the battery, but the way this thing is, there's like a connection right there, right off the ESC, and your batteries sit in this tray. I got the new strap in. What they call it a strap. It's just their latching system. Didn't have one, so I put that in there. But then your battery's sitting here, and they plug in to those ports, right? I've got these adapters, which I'll use for now. But eventually, there's some people on eBay who make a 3D printed part that goes on the bottom side that will hold EC5. So I need to get one more of these, and then we'll put those in there, and then I can plug those direct in here. I'll just cut and solder new connectors on the end of the ESC. So eventually I may have to pop the dudes back out and do that. But man, it is coming together super nice. So I had to buy a new rear set of drive shafts, so this will go right here, right? Issue being we had 3 different drive shafts that were there. We had the bent one, we had one missing an end, and then another one that has 2 ends on it, but one of them, is it this one? It is just blowed out. And these things, they're a pain to get apart. And I was trying, because I was like, I could use this shaft. This end doesn't have a ton of play. I could pop this guy out, and I could steal that guy and put him on there, or I could pop one in there. You know what I mean? But really finding out that these things are a pain in the butt to even do anything. They make some aftermarket ones, but these things are so cheap. It was $18. So I got it for 18 bucks. For my headache, I'm gonna throw these guys in the trash because they're worthless. And I think we can get this guy in, because then after that we can get the skid plate cover in and have that all together and ready for when we get some tires. We should get some tires here pretty soon. Get the batteries charged up, and we'll fire this thing up and get it rolling. Probably still we'll get it going on this old body. I did have the 2 spares. Like I said, these have no foam in them or anything, so we'll at least have the spares on the back of the truck. I was able to get most of the paint off on here, so I like the look of the black better than these were all faded and nasty anyways. Got the battery cover, got the skid plate, so we'll get all this stuff on. But remote, I say, should we just get this in there? Ready, bang, new drive shaft in. We're gonna get this skid plate ready, bang. It's all on, man, fits good. Man, this drive shaft fit perfectly, and it's nice. They give you the little pin, the screw-in pin. So, and super simple. I mean, it's pretty easy bolt-on deal. So we're good to go. I think, get that other bumper piece, and I got the spares. I actually ordered the little like fire extinguishers and a few things, and there's a radiator and fan setup that goes here, the fake one, but it'll keep crud from going in through the back. So got those pieces coming. We'll probably show you that at a later date, but hey, we'll get that front bumper on, we'll get the back tires on. Once we get our real J concepts on here, we're gonna fire this thing up and see if it rips. Hopefully it does. Man, I had to take the dudes out. We took the dudes out. I figured, hey, I'm here. I might as well do it now before I don't have to go back in and pull things apart. So I got rid of the Traxxas connectors, went to the EC5s. So, just cut off the connectors and did my own 2 connectors. Now they go down in there when they have this retainer block, right? And they're meant for a Traxxas connector. So what I did was I took my Dremel, trimmed out a little bit, and they kind of press fit in there. The only thing is there's nothing to keep them, like if you pull the plug out from underneath the bottom, there's nothing to keep it from like pulling it down. So if you look, they make a bunch of these 3D printed ones to do like XT60, XT90. They do some for EC5, right? EC5. These are IC5. Probably could have used one of those, but they're, the stock one's so way harder, stronger, right? And if you look at all of them, they all have these set screws in them anyways to hold the connector to the side. So I trimmed out a little bit to fit, drilled a couple holes, put some set screws in there. Now we're gonna put those things back in there and hit the set screws down, bolt it up, and we're ready to go. So then we'll get everything back together. Tires came in, so we'll slap this thing together. We're gonna be on the road soon. So let me see, should we just Ready? 1, 2, 3, ready? Bang! Check it out. It's like it was meant to be there. That's the factory block. Let's get the little set screws on the side. EC5 or IC5 or whatever. I forget. The Spectrum version. Spectrum version. That's what it looks like down below. Plugs right in. You can't pull them out. Nice and snug. Now I won't have that extra harness. I was able to get the batteries in there and slam it all together, but it's kind of a pain. So I think what I'm going to do is my batteries are a little bit shorter. There's some gap here. I'm going to add a little bit of foam to the back here. Put some foam in the back of the tray. Scoot them forward just a little bit. Give them a little bit of cushion, and we should be good to go. I think. Really happy. Fits good. Little custom. Next up, wheels and tires. We'll get that all together, and man, we're going to be on the road. Bang! Look at that thing. J concepts are on. The landmines, they fit good. Actually, they fit perfect. They're nice. This thing is together. Got the spares on there. Some nice stainless steel screws and washers that way in case water gets in there and won't rust. Now, got the fans on, reservoirs on, fire extinguishers, battery, oil cans, all this stuff. Now, I didn't have any of it. I actually found like a whole kit of stuff on eBay for $15. It was cheap. I think it'd be like maybe 25 for all of it. But like the fan comes in multiple pieces, so you got to screw it together. No hardware. Yeah, none of the hardware comes with it. And then like the tray is separate, the batteries are separate, and you got to screw them all together. I had a few of the screws for it. The rest of it I had to come up with, which I had a bunch of stuff that all works. So I was able to get it all screwed together and on. I figured, hey, you know, here I might as well do it. It's funny, Dash is like, I don't like those. He doesn't like the red fire extinguishers. But I figured it'd be cool, you know, might as well just finish it off. It was cheap. And then I dig these two clamps. So you can put your spare drive shaft in there, or a spare. I don't have one yet, but we'll get one. Throw one in there. Man, this thing is done. It is awesome. Now, you'll see I'm running a Dumbo remote. So I went to go calibrate the ESC, and when I was hitting the throttle, pulling the throttle, all of a sudden the front wheels started to turn a little bit. They were turning, then you left the throttle, and they'd go back. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I was thinking, oh, you know what? It's either receiver or remote usually. So had a spare receiver, hooked it up, bound it, went to go through everything, hit the throttle, did the same thing. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So I had this Dumbo setup, which I've used in the past. I actually really like them. They work really well. They're kind of a pain. The instructions on them setting them up is kind of a pain. But got those on there and or hooked it up, bound it, got it all calibrated, pull the trigger, spot on. So we're gonna use the Dumbo. So this remote here is no good. It's the remote, not the receiver. It was the remote. So we got the body getting ready to go on. So we'll get the body on, and then we're gonna take it for a little test drive out front. Kind of just knock the dust off of it, make sure everything looks good, feels good, make sure I got everything hooked up right, and then I think part two. We're gonna do a part two where we get this thing out in the dirt. We're gonna beat it up. I'm gonna beat it up, let the kids beat it up, have fun with it, and we'll show you what these UDRs can really do, because this thing is a blast. All right, we got this crazy UDR. Man, this thing was a basket case. We got it all together. Check out this beat up body. We are gonna give this thing a cool shakedown today, right? With the ding dongs. Just out front, we got the mini ramps.
Can you please not say ding dongs?
You guys are ding dongs though. I'm gonna maybe let you guys give it a little shakedown too. What do you think?
But
Maybe? All right, check this thing out.
Ow.
Man, I love this thing. This will be the first little quick run. What do you think, guys? Should we go?
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, tumble already.
I have never heard that sound out of my mouth.
This thing you definitely gotta get used to. It's peppy.
Wait, I just saw
Man, look at that suspension. This thing's I'm not even like, I punch it and it just does a crazy wheelie.
I just saw something.
Oh. I can't wait to get this thing in the dirt. That's where it's going to shine. It has so much grip with these tires. It just wants to roll when it's on the concrete. But man, everything's working. Doesn't seem like it has the best turning radius, but suspension's nice and smooth. Oh man. It wants to fly, but I don't think it's the best basher in the world, but it is fun to drive. I can't wait to get this thing out in the dirt. I think it's going to be so much fun out in the dirt. It's got a lot of power. Definitely the way to go on 6S. See if we can get him back here. Oh. Since with that narrow wheelbase, it's tough. You get a lot of grip. Man. Oh my goodness. It just wants to wheelie with all that grip. It's definitely fast. But like I said, this is shakedown run, make sure everything looks good. Oh man, I hope you guys enjoyed that quick little bash. This thing's fun, right?
I want to try it.
You guys are gonna try it next. But stay tuned for part 2. We're probably gonna take this out with the X-Max, maybe a couple others. And we're going to throw this thing in the dirt, and we're going to have some fun with it, because that's what it's really meant for, to really slide around and have a good time. But man, I can't believe how well it came out. It all works. Amazing. Hey, please comment, like, subscribe. We appreciate all your support, and we'll catch you on the next one.